Closer to Memorial Day, Fox 10 News is giving local veterans the opportunity to tell their war stories.
It is all part of our tribute to the men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country.
Tonight, Fox 10 News reporter John Rogers talks to a veteran who took part in a campaign that was fought on U.S. soil.
Did you know that during World War II, the Japanese invaded Alaska? History shows the Japanese conquered 2 of the Aleutian Islands, all in an attempt to make their way into North America. Today, you'll meet one veteran who was there during the whole ordeal.
Okay.
89-year-old Otis Slack proudly served as a soldier in the Second World War.
The battles weren't as famous as Iwo Jima.
He served his country in the home front.
The Japanese Imperial Command vows to destroy the United States military.
Made a mistake, didn't they? That's the way we.
Otis Slack was stationed in Kodiak, Alaska, when the Japanese made a strike.
They wanted to use it to come into the United States. See, if they'd come up the Aleutian Islands, they were stepping stones for them.
Military records show the Japanese planned to weaken the U.S. Pacific Fleet by spreading out battles throughout the massive Pacific Ocean. And an easy pathway into North America was through the Aleutian Islands. So on June 3rd, 1942, the Japanese launched an aerial attack on Dutch Harbor. The Americans fought them off, but with a price. 43 Americans were killed, and 11 planes were lost.
If they had took Dutch Harbor, they was going to take us then, at Kodiak, and all they had to do was just take us, because we had nothing to fight with.
But the invasion had begun. By June 7th, the Japanese had invaded the islands of Kiska and Attu. So the U.S. military began moving forces throughout the Aleutian Islands.
To run them back out of there. That was what we were supposed to do.
Slack and his division were sent to the island of Amchitka, where the weather was not welcoming, to say the least.
Worst in the world.
The troops had to dig tunnels in snow just to get around their camp. Slack says when supplies were dropped at the beach, soldiers had to hike 1.5 miles to carry them back to camp.
And they wouldn't let you go along. You had to take a man that had compasses and so on, because if that whiteout set in, you had no idea where you were.
Massive snowstorms would surround the soldiers in a sea of pure white, where nothing was visible. Slack says during the winter, the temperature at Amchitka easily fell to 40 or 50 below zero. Slack and his detachment spent around 16 months on Amchitka. The Japanese had abandoned the island and never returned, but Slack and his fellow soldiers stood guard.
If they'd said go, we're ready. We'd do anything to get out of them islands. We'd fight anybody to get out of them islands.
But the United States still had to run the Japanese off the Aleutian Islands. So after months of bombardment, the Americans invaded Attu on May 11, 1943. The fighting was brutal. The Japanese fought from caves and in terrible weather, and some American troops were ill-trained. Over the next couple of weeks, American forces gradually gained more of a foothold on the Japanese. And then on May 29th, the Japanese took a final stand.
It is the bloodiest battle of World War II. It's the shortest, but the bloodiest.
The U.S. Army says about 1,000 surviving Japanese charged through American lines, screaming and killing.
A lot of hand-to-hand fighting, bayonet fighting. The boys fought hand-to-hand on a lot of that stuff.
By the end of that night, only 28 Japanese troops surrendered. 549 Americans were killed. The U.S. had retaken Attu and counted more than 2,300 dead Japanese on the island. In August, U.S. troops arrived on Kiska, only to find it abandoned.
Forgotten battleground of the Second World War.
Today, Otis Slack feels blessed. While stationed on Amchitka, he didn't fight the Japanese, but he was prepared if he had to. He says he's proud that he played a part in protecting this country from a Japanese invasion.
We had to win that war. We had no choice. What choices would we had? Where would you have been if we hadn't won that war?
All the battles from that war make up the fabric of America today. This country's very existence was under attack more than 60 years ago. And today, it's defined and in debt to the bravery of the men and women who fought for it.
The U.S. Army says the battle on the island of Attu ranks as one of the costliest battles in the Pacific. For every 100 enemies found on the island, 71 Americans were killed or wounded. The Army says the cost of retaking Attu was second only to the Battle of Iwo Jima. And we'd love to hear your war stories. Go to our Facebook page to upload your own World War II photos and share your stories with us.